Mind Body Life show hosted by Frederick Enteman on Global Voice Radio on Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern. During his show, Mind Body Life founder and best-selling author Frederick Enteman investigates the little-known insights and daily methods used to create explosive life transformations and transitions with those that have risen from struggle and ascended to greatness. Here is your Mind Body Life host, Frederick Enteman.
Welcome to the Mind Body Life show. I'm your host, Frederick Enteman. I'm a former professional athlete, a best-selling author of Surviving Sports in the Game of Life, a coach, a consultant, and publisher. And I help professional athletes create lasting success outside of sports and win the game of life. I want to welcome you to episode 37. This episode is about living the life that you envision. I want to ask you a question. If you could fast forward to the end of your life, are you confident that at the end of the road, you'll be happy with where you stand? Recognize that you'll only be given one shot to live the life of your dreams, and there isn't going to be a second chance. This isn't a dress rehearsal. So identify first and foremost, what is important to you as it relates to your career, to your relationships, and your family, and just go for it. The biggest and most exciting adventure one can take in this life, I think, is chasing the life of their dreams. And a lot, I also feel, has been lost through fear and comparison, expectations. People just don't even want to bother. They think it's impossible. But I want to quote Charles Schultz in that there's no heavier burden than an unfulfilled potential. It really is the source of most people's pain. And no matter who you are, you have something to offer to the world that it needs, actually, from you. And no matter how old or young you are, it's not too late or too early. The best time really is right now, always has been. And you're here for your own evolution, but you're also here to contribute to evolution. And your ability to deliver on this inherent promise directly correlates to your level of well-being and overall life satisfaction. Each of us lends a note to this greater symphony, whether we're conscious of it or not. And how full of a note are you contributing? I mean, how true might you find this actually? Does this type of truth make you feel uncomfortable? It might hurt a little bit because I speak the truth. I speak from the heart. And I want you to ask yourself a question. How harmonious are you living with your own purpose and potential? Only you know that. You know, I've really become obsessed with the idea that people can live the lives they want instead of the lives they have. And over the years, as a coach and consultant, I've been examining the disconnect between where people say they want to be and where they actually are. And to a certain extent, it is logical. Hope keeps us going, after all. We almost always want better than we have now. And that's why we set future-oriented goals. We strive for those things that are perceived to be missing in our lives. We work towards achieving those things that we want, whether it is better health and fitness, or a better car, a better house, or a great relationship. With that said, too many of us are simply settling for less than we want. That's clear. It's way too easy to get caught up in the struggle. We've been taught to believe that making a living, quote unquote, making a living, takes precedence over our lives. I don't believe that, however. I actually work with individuals who find themselves at a crossroads and transitions and are really unsure how to either transition into something new or simply create a more fulfilling, harmonious life. And many of them are mid-level, mid-career professionals and professional athletes as well, CEOs, executives, and whatnot. And they've all been working in one type of job or career for a while. And now that job or career no longer makes them happy. It if it ever did. And I'll come to find out with some clients, they had fooled themselves into thinking it actually did. And then they found their true purpose. They have a feeling that there must be something else out there for them, but they don't know what that is. And obviously, in the case of an athlete, their career comes to an end, just like mine did. And then you're stuck with that next step, which you certainly need to be prepared for. We're going to come to some harsh realities, let me tell you. I came to a simple conclusion a few years ago when I was at my own career crossroads. And I decided that I did not want to spend one more day doing something I didn't enjoy as it related to, if you want to call it, work. I completed a long career doing what I loved most of the time, I should say. But I knew it was just time to move on. And I was lucky that I worked in a career I enjoyed for the most part. Sometimes people aren't even that lucky. And when you're starting out on your first job, there are many unknown factors that so-called higher education doesn't even prepare you for. And what is it you'll find most enjoyable about the job anyway? What type of manager or supervisor do you thrive under as opposed to chafe under? What kind of work teammate are you? Do you prefer to work as part of a group, or do you prefer solo projects? These are all simple questions you can ask yourself to even prepare. And once you've reached the mid-career level, you've learned a lot about yourself. You know the answers to many of these questions. In fact, knowing the answers to these questions can create a lot of internal conflicts. And my experience is that mid-career professionals are looking for work that has meaning and value. And they want to feel that what they do in the course of their work will leave some sort of imprint on the world. They want to use their hard-earned experience to benefit the company or organization. And they want to be contributors. They want to feel appreciated. And they want and deserve to feel that validation. Of course, there are many factors that go into deciding what to do next in your career. And with that said, I just want to start off with 3 specific considerations to ponder if you're ready for career change. If you're tired of your job, you feel burnout. First of all, are you crystal clear about what you want? Is it financial security? Is it a greater work-life balance? Do you want a job that caters to your natural talents and abilities? Do you need for your next job to be in alignment with your core values and beliefs? And number 2, are you equally clear about your transferable skills? Do you understand the difference between hard skills and soft skills? Many do not. And do you want to work in a field that's different from your current field? If so, do you need new training? You need to go back to school. Did your current resume reflect your transferable skills adequately? Number 3, do you remember what you wanted to be when you were a child? If you're at a total loss about what direction to go, take a trip down memory lane. And when you were young, did someone tell you that you couldn't do what you wanted and you believed them? Have you given up on a secret dream as a result? If so, just take a look at that. Do you need to reconsider what your childhood dream is? Is it possible to pick that up now? If you're struggling with what you want to do with the rest of your life, work-wise, remind yourself of one key fact. You're the only person in charge of your life. And you always get to choose. At the end of the day, it's up to you. And I know a lot of people want to think they don't have a choice. And they're scared, they're confused, they're frustrated. They have a lot of resentment. And they live in the past because they say, well, what if? And I made a mistake here. Well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They believe they're victims of circumstances beyond their control. And in fact, they're not. No one is a victim of circumstance unless they choose to be. It's all about perspective. But you get to choose how you look at your life and your aspirations. I can't tell you what your dream job is or what the life of your dreams might look like. I know how to get you there and coach you there, but I can tell you that you owe it to yourself to consider that it is possible for you. It's possible for everyone. If you feel lost, talk with someone who's objective. Now, family and friends are often the worst people to discuss career decisions with. They they want to protect you, right? They want to protect you from disappointment. And they may also want you to stay complacent so you don't show them up. There's some of that going on. And after all, if you were successful fulfilling your dream, what would they say about their complacency? So consider, what do you really want in your life? The answer to that question will provide the keys truly to your future. Is it possible to live the life of your dreams anyway? And I do maintain that it is. I've seen many do that and take those leaps and bounds, but do you have to settle for less than you want or deserve? I mean, do you want to make a life instead of just eking out a living? You can, but only if you want to. And the sweet thing is, you get to choose. Here's just a few things that you can start doing that will actually help you live your dreams. Now, start thinking in possibilities and not limitations, because life is actually limitless. That might sound cliche, but think about the moment we start to think otherwise, we start to put automatic restraints on ourselves and our abilities. And too many people limit their potential because they don't want to spend the time it requires to get to where they want to be. And they focus too much on the limitations of what they have, which holds them back from the possibilities of what could be. So whether you're talking about the possibilities of your career, the possibilities of your health, or the possibilities of your relationships, you need to think about what you can do to achieve what it is you're aiming for. Stop making excuses because whoever doesn't like you, if that's even true, and maybe it's your own confounding belief system going on in your own head. We never know. Or your city doesn't have the economic support for your business, and do something. Do something meaningful and do something that defies what others thought was impossible. That's very important. Nowadays, I was reading a white paper. There's so much rising depression and anxiety and stress in this country because everyone's comparing. You just ignore, stop the societal comparisons. The only competition you need to think about right now, there's a person you see when you look in the mirror. And I know that's cliche as well, but you're competing really against the person in the mirror who tells you to sit back and relax when you have hard decisions to make. You're competing against the person in the mirror who doesn't control their emotions and acts irrationally during high stress situations. Focus on you. Don't worry about the guy you went to high school with, and don't worry about your colleagues. Constantly checking your life against someone else is a horrible way of living. It's self-deprecating. But, I actually like the cliche. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. So instead of looking at the story that someone else is writing and taking a stab at replicating it, focus on your story and do something that will make your story worth repeating or reading. So change the game. Don't let the game change you. And Macklemore said it best. Change the game. Don't let the game change you. Make the money. Don't let the money make you. Now, these simple lyrics are really the key to staying true to yourself and staying humble at the same time. Too often do people become someone they're not for that new job opportunity instead of embracing their true passions and what they love to do. Will Smith once said that money simply amplifies what personality traits are already there, and in some ways, I agree. Yet, I think the most important thing that money does is reveal the strength of a person. It reveals whether or not someone will exchange their dreams and passion for a paycheck. I'm big on putting away the phone and just be present. And we live in a world where we spend 2 minutes on the tweets or Twitters to read about someone's coffee, and 2 minutes on Instagram to see a picture of that coffee, and 2 minutes on Facebook to hear about the person who served the coffee. How about we simply enjoy our coffee and just shut up? And that's what you need to do. You need to just crush the noise. And that's what we all need to do. We need to remove ourselves from this insanity. We need to stop trying to share every single minute of our lives with those around us and enjoy every single minute of our lives right here and right now. The moment we can just disconnect ourselves from technology and reconnect with society, we'll be better off as a whole. So embrace being present and embrace being with those who are physically around you. You know, another thing is removing excessive possessions. This world of mass consumerism is equally as crazy as the as all the tweets and everything out there. I mean, countless studies have shown that money can buy you happiness. Actually, didn't expect that, did you? But surprisingly, what most people don't realize is that happiness doesn't come from a shiny new necklace or from a brand new car. Happiness comes from living life to the fullest by doing things. And in 2010, the New York Times published an article about consumption and how it relates to happiness. And in this article, a professor discussed a study that identified the number one category to be positively related to happiness. And surprisingly, the top category wasn't cars, it wasn't homes, it wasn't home improvements, or even a shiny new necklace from Tiffany's. The number one category was leisure activities. So your vacations, your entertainment, sports, and equipment used to enhance an experience. You know, for example, such as golf clubs or yoga mats or a surfboard even. Those are just examples. It could really be anything, but I hope you get my point. So thus, buying authentic, memorable experiences should be our primary focus when looking to optimize our lives using a paycheck. And that's why we do this. Now, some of my favorite memories and most fulfilling moments in life have been through experiences. You know what? Speaking of experiences, I've also found that my experiences are only good as the friends that help me get there. And so spend time with friends who help you level up. You are, after all, the average of people you spend the most time with. Not only that, you find interests and similarities with those that you spend the majority of your time with. Years back, I was dedicated to getting in the best shape of my life, and I spent countless hours working out at the track and local gym, and really tried to take things to a world-class level. And I quickly noticed a change in the people I was spending the majority of my time with, and noticed that they were also dedicated to health and wellness and going to new levels. And our conversations were about our eating habits and performance and recuperation and supplements and what goals we're trying, or plateaus we're trying to break through, and what we'd be working on differently in the next day. These type of conversations. I got in amazing shape, and as a result, ended up being the oldest, tallest, heaviest person in the world to ever run a sub 4 mile. And I learned more than I'd ever thought I'd know about the human body and actually the possibilities of my own body, even after having a professional career in basketball. So if you're focused on becoming successful in business, it's important to surround yourself with people who are looking to achieve the same thing. You're able to discuss the struggle and gain insights on what they've been doing to find success. If you surround yourself with people who are constantly negative and spend more time talking about why the world is out to get them, you too will become a victim of the circumstances in which you impose on yourself. So surround yourself with people who do great things and are great people. And in doing so, you too will become great by association. Stop trying to have all the world's answers. One lesson you'll learn through life is that you'll never learn everything. You'll understand that it's simply impossible to learn everything there is to know about everything. And as a result, it's important to leverage those around you who will have strengths where you have weaknesses. So your combined knowledge can be used to move forward. It's also important to recognize that you can't have all the world's answers when you relate them back to your own life. And the real world doesn't reward those who try to figure things out before acting. It rewards people who move on their instincts and chase their dreams in the face of uncertainty. Focus on the things you control. Just focus on the things you have control over. Too many people look at the things they can't control. It's important for us to focus on the things we can control in life, as it's really the only way we can actually make progress. If you focus on the things you can't control, it will take a toll on you, as you're constantly setting unrealistic expectations. You set expectations that certain things will happen, but have no real ability to make them happen because they're out of your control. So if you deny the reality of not being able to change something, you'll continue to waste your time and energy. You will waste time wishing that things were different or pretending that they are, and ultimately they get nowhere. Focus on things and people that matter, because time is scarce. And furthermore, time is the most valuable resource we have. It goes without saying. It's the one thing that each of us are privileged with, the one thing that we can use to move forward or step back. If you spend your time focusing on things that have no real significance to your life, how can you expect to accomplish anything? The most important thing in life is recognizing and embracing the idea of prioritization. If you prioritize things that are important to you, you will become closer to living the life of your dreams. And you need to identify who and what is important to you and allocate your attention to these things rather than those that won't help you get to where you want to be. Make the best of every situation. Challenges should be embraced, and each day you'll be met with a combination of challenges and opportunities. And some of these days will be stressful, some of these days will be easy. And if you can meet each day with optimism and make a commitment to being happy, you'll fall in love with life. So greet your obstacles with open arms and embrace them, recognizing the possibilities that they'll have on the other side. Embrace your positive thoughts and surround yourself with positive people. Let the possibilities of every situation inspire you and keep moving forward. Strive to bring value to the world. I love a quote by Michael Jordan. It's better to fail in originality than to succeed in imitation. And if there's one thing you can do before you leave the world to say life was worth it, it's this: be a reason the world is better than it was when you got here. If you can strive to accomplish this goal, you'll forever be driven to provide value to the lives of those around you. And on a global scale, you'll be driven by a purpose more important than your ego and more important than your paycheck. And you'll strive to make a positive change in the face of adversity and create much more than you consume. And when you develop a mantra such as this one, you can help but go forward in the direction of the life of your dreams. Above all, choose happiness over everything else. If you can find joy in doing nothing, you can find it in everything. Learn to experience happiness without a reason, and you can really create happiness for any reason. And realize that happiness and joy are not always the result of good things, as oftentimes they're the cause of good things. And there's nothing you need in order to be happy other than the choice to be. So just let go of the worries you have for what may or may not come your way, and focus instead on the good things that you can give, you can create, you can inspire and choose to experience right here and right now. Don't allow the world to pull you down with its negativity. Choose to transform the world around you with your own positivity. Really, another cliche or trite phrase going around that I actually like is be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And when you do things that scare you, great outcomes will be met on the other side. And yeah, again, while it's a cliche, the idea that with great risk comes great reward, and this is an idea that needs to be embraced. When you have the ability to control your natural instinct to avoid things that scare you, you start to do things that no one else will. And start chasing the life of your dreams with your eyes on the prize. And the greatest human accomplishments are reached from someone who starts from an uncomfortable place. Whether you're striving to create a better world or a better business, one way to gauge whether or not you're doing something substantial is how uncomfortable you are when you actually start. Be accountable for the life you live. Make no excuses and don't point fingers at others for the cards you've been dealt. Instead of believing that the problems in your life are the results of someone else's actions, think and realize that your life is what you make it. Don't allow yourself to be limited to what you believe you're capable of. Push the boundaries and test the constraints of external forces as you come upon them. And then in the process, learn from what can bend and what can break. Recognize that you've done to get yourself where you are, and utilize this knowledge to do things that will create a positive future. As Eminem once said, life is no Nintendo game. You don't get a second chance. I actually like that. Be less busy, be more productive, and stop celebrating the fact that you're busy. More times than not, in this modern age of clicking and searching and just moving and wasting energy, being non-productive, being busy is simply mental stimulation that gets us to nowhere. Instead of working harder, just work smarter. Work on things that will actually allow you to make a significant stride towards what you're hoping to accomplish. This is what I do with coaching clients. I actually look at their schedule, simplify it, and make it more efficient, make it more productive, and work on those habits. If you walk into an office on a Thursday afternoon filled with 30 or 40 people, it's more likely that you'll see busy people than productive people. You'll see someone who's busy running from one meeting to the next or running from one conference call to another. And you'll see a handful of people who don't have enough time to do the things that really matter. This was my experience in education as a teacher at all these meetings, blah, 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 blah. People that think they're so important, trying to just say things with no sustenance when the rest of us had a pile of work to do. Stop wasting time in other people's times. This sense of being busy really is embraced by the company because all they see is their little hamsters running around on a wheel. Instead of running out on a wheel like a hamster, make some priorities. Really identify what you're hoping to accomplish from a goal perspective and chase it. I think this episode was prompted by the fact that so many are just leading lives they aren't satisfied with, and that's a real shame. There's so many people not doing what's true to their heart. And if you ever are in that place, if you feel like you're in a place, you feel stuck, the biggest step you can do right now is to take personal accountability for yourself. And that's step number one. If you don't know how to do that and move forward, that's what I'm here for. If you want to get a hold of me for coaching and consultation, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. Please reach out to me, call me, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Have a wonderful week until next time.
Thank you for joining us. Listen every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern to Frederick Intiman host Mind, Body, Life. Connect with Frederick at www.globalvoiceradio.com. Tune in next week for another edition of Mind, Body, Life on Global Voice Radio.